Hi, can you all hear me? Is it clear? Is my video clear? Hi Srividya, is my video clear? Can you hear? So, I'll introduce myself. From now onwards, I'll be introducing myself in the beginning of the video so that new people who will watch this video will know who I am. So, I am Niharika, counseling psychologist. So, I am the founder of 4 Steps Up. 4 Steps Up talks about reconnecting to mind, body, people, and nature. So, 4 Steps Up helps people in connecting back to mind, body, people, and nature. So, yeah, you are able to hear me? Okay, can you all confirm, please? So, I had been making videos previously, but after that I was busy, so I stopped. So, now I started again. So previously I made a series on sexual abuse and second series is on parenting mistakes, especially not only parenting, it's about parenting mistakes. So this is part 3 of parenting mistakes. So in this video I'm going to talk about parentification. Okay. So Renu, hi. Sharon, hi. So you are saying that you are able to hear. So I'll start here. So how many of you have watched this movie Shruti? So previously I was also making videos on different movies. I was making the analysis of the movies. But later I realized whatever that happens in the movies is very different from things that happen in real life. So it's very much difficult to analyze movies. That is one thing. Secondly, it is also if I analyze movies which are made based on true life stories, then they will make sense definitely. But I don't have any right to analyze people who really exist, and it is like violation of the rule. And they did not come to me, they did not tell me their story, so I have no right to analyze, even if they have given rights for movie producers and movie screenplay writers, movie story writers. Even then I don't have a right to comment on them without taking their permissions, so I stopped. But here and there I decided to use movies in live videos itself. So how many of you have seen that movie Shruti? So is my video shaking? Is it clear? I think there is some problem in the clarity. Is it? Hi Satish. Okay, even if you have not seen the movie, that's not a problem. I will give the example of that. Okay, screen flickering. That's what I felt. I think there is no light, proper light. What if I turn like this? Will it be okay? Still it is flickering. Hmm, still flickering. Okay, I'll continue. It is flickering, but I'll continue. I'm waiting for other people to join. That's why I'm just playing. No problem, even if it flickers. Maybe because of rain. Okay. I also changed my place. I have occupied my mother's room because there is AC, so that I will not sweat like how I used to sweat in the previous videos. Hi Bhaskar garu. Okay, who is this ABC? I don't know who is this ABC. Okay, I'll start. So in the movie, what happens is there is a family, three brothers, and elder brother has a wife. So elder brother takes kind of divorce. They stay separate, wife and husband. So after that, elder brother separates from his two younger brothers. So all the family gets split into bits and pieces. So they have fights, and the younger brother, who is Rajshekhar, he's also an alcoholic in the movie. So he becomes addicted to the drinking habit, and after that, his wife, Sumalata played the role of wife. She separates, and she is the only one who is kind of who keeps the family. He keeps up the family, and she loves all the members of the family. She wants to rejoin all the members, and she wants to form a happy family again. So she is the one who tries to bring everyone together, all the members of the family. So she lives separately for many years, almost 10-15 years. So she will give birth to a child, and after that, she trains child in such a way that the child becomes very matured, intellectual person and gives good kind of performances, dance performances, and he earns the money. Like she is the one who is living alone. She's a mother. She can kind of separated from her husband, so she lives alone and she earns money through her child. Her child gives dance performances, and through that, she earns all the money. And she also encourages her child to meet child's father and child's uncles who got separated from the brother. So she encourages the child to perform along with those people. They are singers and child is dancer. So she tries to reunite everyone by using the child. So there was a moment in the movie where child tries to convince his father and tries to help him in de-addicting to the alcohol. So he tries to challenge his father, and he asks father to stop drinking, and he makes a challenge. If he can dance, father has to stop drinking, and if he fails in dancing when father sings, so then father can continue drinking alcohol. So in the challenge, child wins, and after that, father stops drinking. So after that, everybody starts reuniting. Everybody interacts with this child. This child brings all the uncles onto same platform and father onto same platform. They all give a family performance. After that, they all unite. So this is the story of the movie for those who have not seen. So why I explain this movie is I can use this movie to explain so many things very easily. And so now I'll tell you all what is first problem in the movie. So in movie, child successfully changed the father by challenging the father. But in reality, what happens is when a child challenges father or any other person, the alcoholic father or any person who is alcoholic will never change, will never get de-addicted, will never get free from the alcohol addiction. Why? Because until or unless a person who is alcoholic decides to leave alcohol, till that time he will not leave alcohol. That is because drinking alcohol is not a challenge that appears on the surface level, that he is drinking alcohol, but that is not actual problem. So the person who is addicted to alcohol or anything, he is trying to distract himself from actual pain. So what is the actual pain of this father? Nobody knows. So what is the actual pain of that person? Nobody knows. Until or unless we deal with the actual pain and we help that person in dealing with the actual pain, he will never leave alcohol, because if he leaves alcohol, actual pain will again starts bothering this person. That's why he will not leave. For example, if I am a alcohol addict, I will not leave alcohol until or unless my conflict, my issue, my core issue is not resolved, because I cannot stay in this world. I am scared of this world. I am very afraid of this world. That's why I started drinking, and I am living in alternative reality. I am living in some imaginary world. I am living in that kind of state where I don't understand anything that is happening around me. So that is some distraction that I am using to keep myself away from the reality. Sri Vidya, yes, I am talking about Shrutilaya movie. I asked everybody in the beginning, and anyone watched that movie. So, the person who is addicted to alcohol will not leave drinking until or unless the core issue is dealt. For example, I got sexually abused in my childhood, or I was bullied in my childhood. I have a body image issue. I don't like my body image. Because of that, I started drinking. So now, if I have to get de-addicted, then I have to deal with the body image issue and sexual abuse issue, not with the alcohol issue. So alcoholism is a manifestation. Of course, there is 12-step program. Alcohol de-addiction deals with the alcoholism, but still the core problem has to be solved. Then only this alcoholism can be treated. So in the movie, when child challenges and says, "If I win the challenge, if you cannot sing and if I can dance, then you have to leave alcohol." For example, if that person has senses, if that person is rational, then he will be able to follow. He will be able to obey the orders. He will be able to he will be able to stick on to his promise. But since alcoholics cannot stick on to their promises because they promise and they forget it, because they don't live in reality, they live in virtual world which is very away from the reality. So for example, in real life situation, what happens, that father will look at the drinks next day, then again he will forget this promise, because anyways he is doing an attempt to leave the reality and live in the hallucination, live in the not hallucination, I'm just saying for the sake of understanding. So it's not hallucination, it is some world which is imaginary, which is away from the reality. So he would never leave alcohol by remembering the promise that he had made to the son. So now this son will make father do a promise, but after 2 days again father would start drinking, and again this child would start making new attempts to change the father. So again this child would feel, I am failing, I am failing, I am failing. What am I doing? So why am I failing again and again? So I don't have any potential. I don't have any capability. That's what child would feel after 2 to 3 days. Because father will again start drinking. This is point number one. Point number two. There is marital discord in the family. Husband and wife got separated. If they really have proper bond, they would not separate. They have separated because they don't have proper bond. So now suddenly they started singing in a cultural program, and after that again they patched up simply. But in real life, what happens is, after two people separate and again patch up, again they will start fighting. Until or unless they resolve the core issues because of which they got separated, they sit and talk about those issues and they make attempts to change, and they don't take until or unless they deal with the issues, they will not be able to rejoin. So again, after this husband and wife rejoin, they'll start fighting with each other. So this husband again drinks alcohol and starts fighting with the wife. Again, this wife starts asking son to help. Again, son will make challenges with father. Again, father will harass mother. Mother will ask son to help. Son will ask father to leave alcohol. This cycle repeats and repeats and repeats. So when these brothers got separated, three brothers, so these brothers also will never reunite without actually dealing with the cause. So just making a cultural program. What is that? That is nothing but a distraction. For example, people who fight, they sit together and they distract from real world. They sit together, they do something cultural fest. For example, many people, how many of you like weddings? How many of you like cultural events? How many of you like something event that gives you kind of kick? For example, you go to temple, there are vibes there, so you see all flowers, colorful things. So how many of you like that kind of vibe when you are in pain? My question is, it's not that I'm not asking about whether you like it or not. Tell me how many of you go for such options when you have pain in your life. For example, I am feeling sad about my past issue, or I am feeling sad that I failed in exam. So I'll go to temple. After that, I hear the bells, nice vibes. I see the flowers, fragrance everywhere, and I distract myself from the pain. I start enjoying. Or I'll go to a movie. I laugh in a comic movie, or I'll go to Avengers. That is a different world where I can imagine anything that can happen in the Avengers world. So we can jump, we can fly, we can do wonders. So if I go there I will start imagining new things which never happen in real life. So that is cutting from the reality. This is what happens. So until or unless we involve in cultural fest and we distract from the reality, that is not going to help until or unless we deal with the core issue. So this reuniting of the family and changing of the alcoholic behavior of the father, and rejoining of the family, and resolving of the problems between conflicts between father and mother who got separated, that would never happen in the reality. Whatever it is shown in the movie Shrutilayalu, that would never happen in the reality, because they have not dealt with any core issues. They just superficially sat and started a cultural performance. After that, everybody started loving other person of the family. So now, why am I taking the example of this movie? This movie because everything this child initiates. I thought this is a little bit famous movie, so everybody would know that. That's why. So Sudhir Garu is saying temples. Okay, he likes to go. Madhav Garu is saying she will go to temple. So what I'm saying is all these are distractions. Cultural fests are distractions. So when we distract ourselves, that is not a permanent solution. So after this movie, what happens? That I'm going to talk. So after this movie, again all the members of the family start shouting on each other. Then everybody will start asking this child to handle the situations. And after that, child fails, and again child will feel bad about himself. And this is called parentification. Parentification is making a child parent of the parent. Like parent feels that I am not sufficient enough, I am not able to handle. For example, this mother thought I cannot handle my husband. My husband is an alcoholic. He is fighting with his brothers. So I cannot handle anybody in the family. So let me train my child in such a way that he will rejoin whole family. He will do the donkey work. He will help everybody in the family. So she made a donkey, and she made him, she nurtured him, she developed him in such a way that he will financially help her, he will help her in getting back her husband. She trained him such a way that he will get back all the people of the family. So this is what she had done, this mother. In families which I have seen among like my clients and my friends, my relatives, it's always the mother who trains child in such a way. But in theoretically, it can be father also. It can be either mother or father. But generally, it is mother, because mother neither leaves husband who is bad, so-called bad according to society. Like if husband is alcoholic, husband is having affairs, husband is torturing, husband is beating, then this mother would never leave that person, because she wants secondary gains, maybe money. That husband is earning some money and she wants that money, or she wants a name and fame in the society. She doesn't want to face the people and tell everybody that I am a divorcee, and people will laugh at her, would not respect her, and she thinks that there is a necessity of a male in the family, because if there is no male, she cannot survive. So for these kind and security, and husband would protect her from villains, he would fight. Based on these kind of belief systems, secondary gains, mother would never choose to leave her husband. She will stay in the relation. So what is the problem with mothers is, generally fathers, they showed alcoholic behaviors, affairs, toxic behaviors, they beat physically children and wife also. I have seen so many things, but here I am talking about mother, because mother knows that all these are toxic behaviors. That is the difference. Father thinks that whatever he is doing is right, because in these families, dysfunctional families, father is someone who is having a low self-esteem, or he is living in an alternative world, distracted. So mother is the one who wants to hold that person, even though she knows that those behaviors are toxic. But father doesn't even know, at some level somehow he knows, but superficially at least he doesn't know what he is doing, and he lives in kind of inferiority. That's why he lives in alternative world. That's why he never enters into the real world, and he lives in denial most of the times. Most of the times, I am talking about most of the times, not always. Do not apply to your families, because I don't know about your family, I cannot judge, I cannot say. But I am talking about general scenario, and based on my experience, I have seen many clients where mothers know that father has toxic behaviors, but still mothers try to stick on to that relation. But child gets a kind of sympathy on the mother, because child sees mother suffering and father beating mother several times. So child tries to compensate the role of father and tries to earn money for mother and tries to protect the mother, all these things. But why mother chose to be in that relation? That is because she wants secondary gains. Child cannot understand this fact. And a mother who lives independently, like who can live independently, she will leave her husband, and she understands that husband has toxic behavior, so she will leave the husband. So that she is some healthy mother, who is independent, who is autonomous. But if mother is not independent, not autonomous, I am not judging or blaming, because she has her own reasons in doing this. Society has trained women in such a way that the society told women that woman has to live a dependent life, woman has to live under the supervision of husband. So I am not blaming this woman, but this is what this woman does. That I am just telling what she's doing, but that doesn't mean I am judging her. She's doing because whatever she learned from the society and whatever kind of mindset she formed, because of that she is living such a life, and that is her choice, because society taught her when she was a child. She has responsibility to change it after she grows up. She has an option to change it, but she never chose to change. So what this mother generally does, and fathers also does in some families, fathers ask the child to cook for them because there is no mother in the family. So father asks child to cook, and child to, for example, there is a father and mother. Mother expired a few years back. Then this father would ask child to take responsibility of his sisters, his brothers, and cook for everybody in the family, and help him in the office jobs, everything. Whatever this kind of training I'm talking about, that is nothing but parentification. Parentification is a process through which any of the parent transforms the child into caretaker. So this is a toxic process. Why? Because it has a negative impact on the child. So there is two types of parentification. One is instrumental, another one is emotional. Instrumental in the sense, parent trains child in such a way that child will earn money and does household works, any mechanical work, compensates the mechanical, these things, problems. And what is emotional parentification? Emotional parentification is when a parent trains child in such a way that child gives emotional support to the parent. So child deals the issues of the family, alcoholic father and vulnerable mother, alcoholic father beating mother, child interferes and stops the father, and all these things. This is called as parentification, emotional parentification. So instrumental parentification is when parent trains child in such a way that child will earn the money and do something substitution of something that is lacking in the family. So I'm not talking about widow mothers, because if mother is a widow or father is a widow, then what happens is child naturally tries to compensate the role of the partner who died, the person who died. So that can happen naturally. But in the families where there is a mother who is divorcee, or father is alcoholic, or there is marital discord between family members, then there is more chances that parents train the child in such a way. And if it is not training, it is natural instinct of the child in some cases. When there is death in the family, this child will learn from the society that I have to take care of my mother. My father died. So it can be natural process, or it can be artificially made process. So now Madhagar is saying, yeah, people will laugh, no value in the society. That's what people generally tell to you all the women. So Renu is saying, I used to go to temple. Okay. So now, what could be the negative impact of such phenomenon on child? What do you think? Can a child will be able to do all these things? Whatever parent trains after receiving the training, will the child able to do all the things, do the work very well, and compensate one of the parent or take care of the parent and behave like a parent of the parent? Can a child successfully do that? What do you all think? Write your comments in the here live chat. So what happens is parent will train the child, but after that child fails in playing that role, because as I mentioned, I gave the example of alcoholics and divorcees because that is most common thing. Ganesh is saying, "Am I late? Yeah, you are late, but it's okay. You can watch later, no problem." Sudhir is saying, "Parentification effect on child makes him more responsible. Does it help his growth and development? My academics are in career after noticing all the mistakes done by parents." So, Madhav is asking, it's not possible. The child. Okay. So, is it possible for a child to play the role of parent? Is it possible? So now let us understand this. When child is 10-year old, imagine. So now if he has to get money, what he has to do is he has to work as a laborer, child labor, but not as a employee, IAS officer or doctor, because he has no capability to work as a doctor or IAS officer. This is one example. So what happens is when a child is asked to take care of the parent, when child is small, he will not be able to take care. Why? Because child has no machinery that is required. For example, my laptop has no machinery required to play games, and I want to play some kind of games on this, then it will get stuck. That is because for every software to run, the hardware should be there. For example, I want to give this live streaming video in my laptop, but it has no webcam. Then it cannot do the live streaming thing. So whenever there is no such machinery in the body, for example, child cannot complete his education in the childhood. Child cannot give emotional support because he cannot understand everything. Whatever is happening, he understands only up to one limit because his intellect is not completely yet formed. He has no right to choose prime minister. Why? He is not given a right to give the vote in the elections. Why? Why? Because law also says a child has no intellect when compared to the parent. The intellect of the child is not yet developed. I am not saying that intellect of the child is less and parents is more. I am not saying that. Intellect of a developing child is less when compared to the intellect of completely developed child. For example, after 18 years, completely intellect gets formed. He will learn all the belief systems. He will learn new things. He will learn how to expose himself to the society. He will learn how to form relations. He will learn how to socialize. He will learn how to educate himself. He will learn how to grow. He will learn how to behave. So all these things he will learn by 18 years, not before that. 18 is less even. It takes almost 25 years, I can say. So 18 okay, but 20 by 25 years child becomes completely mature. 25 years is the best time. So up to 25 years child is child only. So child only in the sense he will not have complete kind of intellect. So he will perceive things from his own point of view and he will not be able to think beyond that. So because of that, he will have less capability of providing emotional support to parents, less capability of earning, less capability of doing household works because his physical body also will not support him. He will not have much energy. For example, imagine there is a 10-year child and there is a 25-year man who can actually defeat other person. So it's not the child, it's a 25-year-old man who can defeat the 10-year-old child. Let us imagine 10-year-old child is learning karate. You can ask me this question, any of you. So what if the child is trained and the 25-year-old man is not trained? Then also we have to compare to right people, right person. So if child is trained in karate, imagine child got 5 years of training in karate and This 25-year-old man got 15-year training in karate. Then also 25-year-old man can defeat this child. So in the same way, the capacity of child is less and capacity of parents is more. So intellectual capacity, everything is more. And when there is something huge happening, for example, divorce is happening, capacity of child to talk about it and help the parents in rejoining, this is very less when compared to parents. Parents are fully grown, they know what is marriage, they know what is divorce, why it is happening, they know everything. So child's capacity is less. So Sudhir Garu was asking me, he will become more responsible. So, what is becoming more responsible? He will not become more responsible, he will become over responsible. Over responsible in the sense inappropriately over responsible. Excess of responsibility. What happens is, be it academics. So, you are talking about his own career, his own mistakes after doing a mistake, correcting himself. But after doing a mistake, if a person is responsible, next time he will not do the mistake. But if a person is over responsible, next time he will not do the action. So over responsibility is something that shuts the actions. So when a person is responsible, then he will do again, but he will not repeat the mistake. So over responsibility creates a kind of anxiety. It threatens the person in such a way that that person will not try to do anything after that. So it shuts that person completely, and this repeated failure experiences will make child think that he is a failure person and he cannot do anything in his life, and he did all the mistakes. And after doing a mistake, if we take it as a learning, then we'll be able to do second time. For example, in the last video, I wrongly said that we have to wash vegetables with soap. But then I realized after everybody messaged here, I read about it and I got to know that no, we should not do. So I thought I did a mistake by talking about that in the video. Now I decided I'll announce in this video at some point that no, you should not wash your vegetables with soap. Now I am correcting my mistake. That is because I am confident enough to correct my mistake. But if I feel ashamed, if I feel like not doing any more videos, if I feel like stopping this, if I feel like giving up everything because I did a mistake, so that kind of attitude develops in these kids. So what happens? One manifestation is they will get imposter feelings. What do it mean by? Okay, my mom is laughing because she is the one who used to wash. Because of that only, I announced in the video that we have to wash vegetables with soap. She saw a video of somebody, and it was a wrong video. It showed that we have to wash vegetables with soap. So I can't remember the name. Can you please remind me? Because I also want to announce the name because everybody needs to know that that person is wrong. And Sudhir Garu is saying, because in my personal observation, I have seen children done well after taking notice of difficulties faced troubled periods. Yes, so here difference is like financial troubles and faced due to drunken father, etc. So, um, Sudhir Reddy Garu, whatever you are saying, if I cannot, why? Because I'm not criticizing the person, so I think I can give the name, but we'll see later. So Sudhir Garu is saying we get more responsible kind of feelings. The people who are in the broken families, they learn more, they achieve more, they know what a suffering is. That's why they learn how to deal with it. But here problem is, if they feel that they have to rectify everything, if they feel that they have to correct everything, then they cannot do anything. That is point number one. Point number two, when they don't have any pressure, if there are problems in the family, then maybe they might learn few things from the family that something wrong happened in my family. My father was alcoholic, because of which we suffered. That's why I will not take alcohol in future. Maybe he will learn some things, but definitely, a child who has not grown in such conditions is always mentally healthy than the person who suffered. So the person who lived in such kind of family is will definitely have some kind of mental health burden, but he might learn how to cope up with that. But the other kid who lived in happy family, parents gave him kind of good conditions, and parents did not involve him in any kind of problems. So that person will be able to be very happy, and his self-esteem will develop throughout the time, and he will be very confident. He will be very he will have high self-esteem. Of course, as you mentioned, these kind of kids will have autonomy and resilience, who have lived in drastic conditions, worst conditions. They will have resilience, and they will have autonomy, like independence. They can do everything, they don't depend on parents. That is one thing. And second thing is, they will have resilience, something ability to tolerate the pain. But I'm not seeing this in a positive light, because why do I need resilience? Because a child doesn't need resilience. You need not build resilience in child by giving him distress. So you can also build resilience by giving self-esteem. If a child has self-esteem, he will be able to deal with any problem after growing up, even though he has no resilience. Then why to give him suffering and make him more resilient? It's like keeping a plant in the drought conditions and making it more susceptible to drought conditions. So why do we need to make it more susceptible? When normal plant actually drinks only 2 glasses of water per day, and you want to make a plant take only 2 spoons of water per day. You want to grow it in a rigid area, some kind of area, desert kind of area, and you want to keep it in a desert, and then you want to make it susceptible. Then why to do all this process? And here, if you have planted 10 plants in desert areas, then only 2 plants among 10 will survive. 8 plants will die. So this is a kind of experiment where 2 childs will be able to cope up. They will have resilience. They will develop resilience because they learned how to handle with the problems. It's not problems which make a person more wiser and more I can say intellectual, more wiser and more intellectual. It's not the problems that make a person more intellectual. It is the way in which he handles. So there are only 2 kids who will be able to handle them in the right way, like being mindful, dealing with the emotions, going to a psychologist somehow, reaching the psychologist, or seeing the objective picture of everything, wants to become altruistic. Altruism is a way in which people handle like that. They want to become altruistic like that. Only 2 children among 10 children will be able to cope up, and remaining 8 children will adapt other methods like drinking and being aggressive, throwing the things, all the other such kind of things. So why to actually give such kind of pain, and why to try to make them adaptable and more susceptible, and why to build resilience in them? What is the need, and why to take a chance? The 2 out of 10. So who will actually try to take a chance, 20% chance, and try to make a child good? So that's not possible. And Ganesh is saying, it's me who told you to wash with salt water. Yeah, yes. Many people said last week. Ganesh said it. So after that, I corrected. And Sachinarayana garu, hi. Okay, Indu garu, hi. So there is no need of training child and making him more resilient, because even if self-esteem develops in the child, that is enough. There is no need of making him susceptible. So now, what happens to the child? This is a positive impact you mentioned, Sudhir Garu, that he will be autonomous and he will be resilient, of course, but there is risk also associated with it. But even if we take the risk, then also child will become resilient. That's it. That's not going to benefit him, make him happy or anything. If there is resilience, after that future, when he gets a problem, he will be able to face. That's it. No use of resilience apart from that. So now, what are the negative effects? He will get imposter feeling. Imposter feelings, in the sense, the child will start thinking that he is not real. So whatever identity he has, he keeps on questioning his own identity. He keeps on thinking that his feelings are fake, his actions are fake, he is fake, he is not real. Am I cheating people? Am I making people believe that I am an intelligent woman, but I am not? Am I actually making you all feel that I am giving you content, but I am not doing? I am wearing these specs and I am manipulating you all. So because of my specs, you all think that I am a clever girl, I am a clever woman, but I am not. So this is what a person with imposter feelings does. Doubt self and the content of self, everything that person will doubt. And another thing is, he will feel ashamed and he will feel guilty, Because as I mentioned in the beginning, the child in the Srutilayalu movie, he keeps on trying in real life. So father would never leave the alcohol, and mother would he would never rejoin with the mother. So in real life, this child fails. After failing for 100 times, then this child will start feeling ashamed, and child will start feeling guilty for no reason, because he had been trying to do something which is not possible. So let me give an example. There is a 10-year-old girl who wants to become pregnant. Can she become? No. Then she will fail. Definitely it will damage her organs also if she tries to become pregnant, because she has no enough machinery. So because of that, what happens? She will start feeling ashamed of herself. She will feel that I could not do what I wanted to do. So when you do something beyond your capability, definitely you will fail. That is obvious. Then you have to choose another way of doing the same thing. So, for example, a 10-year-old child wants to have a baby around her. Then she has to go to nursery and play with kids, and she has to go to orphanage and play with kids. If she tries to become pregnant, then she will definitely fail, and that is going to kill her. In fact, so that is why I am giving this example. Is this is something which you can understand? It sticks to your mind. So it is like that only. Even if you ask a child to go and earn the money, even if you ask child to go and treat a alcoholic father and handle alcoholic father, if you ask a child to compromise between parents, everything is like that only. So when that happens, child will fail. In movies only they will be where they will succeed, and titles will be like child did everything, wonder kid, like that. In real life, child will definitely fail. He cannot change alcohol. We psychologists cannot do anything to alcoholics. We send them to rehab centers where they will be tied and they will be strictly treated. And they, even when they cooperate, then only something can happen. If they don't cooperate, we also cannot do. Nobody can do anything. So child will fail because of the child failures. The child will develop kind of shame and guilt. And one more thing is, child will start feeling over responsible, like I already mentioned when Sudhir Garu pointed out. Over responsibility in the sense, too much responsibility that she will give up everything. She will not try only because she feels too much responsible. And she takes responsibility of all the other things. So, what happens because of this? In later life, what happens is, yes, Kodukridin Kapuram, Ganeshji. So, what happens is, in the later life, when she's in a, imagine I am a parentified kid. So in my childhood, I used to take care of my mother, my father, and I used to try to change my father. I used to change my mother. So now what I will do is, after growing up, now I'll get married. Then I'll try to change my husband. I'll try to change my kids. I'll try to change my in-laws. I'll try to change my colleagues. I'll try to change my friends. This is over responsibility. She will try to control everything around. So I'll go to a job, then there my supervisor boss is actually doing something wrong. I will try to correct him. So this is what happens. So this person tries to control everybody, and they will get suffocated, most of the people. And even if they don't get suffocated, they will take advantage of this, and they will use this woman. So for example, I try to control all these kind of people. Among them, there is one bad person who wants to use me. So because I am taking additional responsibility, this person decided, okay, let me give additional responsibility to this woman. She's anyway taking. So my boss will ask me to stay back up to 12 o'clock in the night, and he will ask me to do everything. He will say, oh, that poor guy could not complete his job. Please help him. So I will sit up to 12 o'clock and I will do, and after that I'll get exhausted. Like this, over responsibility will make them show that kind of pattern everywhere in their life. And after that, they will doubt their feelings, imposter feelings, and they will also feel ashamed and guilty whenever they fail, because they're taking the responsibility of other person, and it is obvious that they'll fail. When other person doesn't cooperate, they cannot succeed. So this is what happens. So now, if this is the problem, and this is the these are the patterns, how to overcome that? So is it necessary to overcome? So let us talk about that. Point number one. So you can all give your inputs and tell me how to overcome this. If you have experienced anything like that in your life, so please give your experience, share your experience here. So first step we have to take is, you have to understand the process. you have to first of all understand that you got parentified. So until or unless you understand that you got parentified, you cannot do anything to it. So whether I got parentified or not, am I overdoing or not, am I taking the responsibility of all the other people, and which is extra additional responsibilities am I taking. So I have to question myself and understand if I am taking over responsibility. After understanding, second step is I have to identify the impact that is there on the relations. Like where am I doing things overdoing things? Where am I overdoing things? Am I overdoing things in relation with my mother? Am I overdoing things in relation with my father? Am I overdoing things in relationship, romantic relation? So am I trying to suffocate people around me? I have to identify this. And thirdly, I have to identify my guilt and shame. And for example, I am feeling guilty of not being able to change my father, who is alcoholic. I am feeling guilty of not being able to help my mother, who is a divorcee. I am not able to earn money. So I am not able to give to family. I am not able to help them. And I am only 18-year-old or 19-year-old or 17-year-old or 20-year-old, whatever it is. So up to 25 we cannot be function, we cannot function fully. So am I trying to compensate someone else's role and I'm failing repeatedly? I have to identify and what is the source of my shame and guilt. If they are real shame and guilt, then they are good for me. Like for example, if I abused somebody, then I felt guilty about that. That is good guilt, because I'm actually doing something wrong to somebody and I'm violating the rules, I'm violating the boundaries, and I'm doing something without consent, and I'm actually not showing empathy on another human being. So I'm definitely violating rules. So I have to feel bad about it and I should feel guilty. But am I feeling guilty of things which I cannot control? Like, am I feeling guilty for not earning money and feeding my family? I'm only 18-year-old, 19-year-old, I'm still studying. I have not completed my master's. But still, I feel guilty that I'm not able to contribute money to family. Is that true? So I have to question myself. Why am I feeling guilty and shameful? And I have to question myself, how is it impacting the relations? Am I trying to control everywhere? I am trying to do everywhere. So Narsing is saying we should never try to control anyone. Man should marry a person for who she is. Also, we can only teach others by being or setting an example rather than instructing or abusing or requesting. Yes, of course, we cannot control anybody because they won't listen. Until or unless they want to, they will not do anything. We have to understand this. But still, if you are parentified, anybody's parentified, I will not be able to understand this rule, whatever Narsing has posted. So, what I will do is, I will try to control. So that is what parentified kid does. So I have to identify if I am doing that. I can ask people also around me about that. And Ganesh is saying, imagine a single parent kid. Psychology situation, you always think that marriage is bullshit. Okay. I'll talk about this in the coming sessions, coming videos, because this is an entirely different situation where child got a feeling that marriage itself is bullshit. So child got a perception which is generalized. So for example, child saw the situation in her own family, his own family. Then after that, that child generalized the situation and applied it everywhere. This is called as generalization, which is a cognitive bias. Cognitive bias in the sense we feel that we have seen one person who did a wrong thing and we apply it everywhere. There is another example. A girl who got cheated by a boy will think that all the men are bad. So this is that situation, generalization. I'll talk about generalization in a video in future videos. So next one is what you have to do. Step 4. First step, understanding process. Step 2, identifying the impact on relations. Step 3, identifying the guilt and shame and sources of guilt and shame. Step 4, redefining the identity. So you have to redefine your identity. If you are a parentified kid, if I am a parentified kid, I always believed that serving the family and compensating the role of my father or mother or resolving the disputes between them is my identity. But now suddenly I'll start feeling like, what is my identity? So what is the purpose of my life? So if I leave this, I will not have any purpose. That is why what I will do is I will keep doing this. Even if I understand that I cannot help them, even if I understand that alcoholic will never leave the alcohol, and even if I understand that I cannot earn money and give it to my mom because I am very young, I don't have a qualification. So even then, I will try to keep doing that because I need a purpose to live. That's why I keep doing that. So what I have to do is I have to redefine my identity and I have to give new. For example, I want to work with people who divorce. I want to work with people who are alcoholic. I have to become a psychologist and I have to become a rehabilitation psychologist. I have to get RCA license. Then I have to treat alcoholic people. This could be a purpose of mine. So I can design like that. I generally advise people not to define their purposes based on their past experiences and based on their past traumas, because when they do that, generally what they think, they'll be biased. For example, they if somebody got abused, if that girl decides to run a abuse the organization, so when a person comes and says I abused somebody, she will actually kick him out because she is biased already. She is feeling vulnerable about the people who get abused, but she missed a fact that a abuser is also a abuse victim. Because he got abused in the childhood, he abused another girl. So she misses this fact because immediately she gets emotions. She got abused. She started a organization. When an abuser came to her organization, she kicked him out. But he is actually a victim. He also abused another person because he got abused. So now, after healing her trauma, then she can give a purpose to herself. But before healing trauma, if she gives a purpose to herself, she will always be biased and she will have an inclination towards the people who are vulnerable according to her definition. So she will have an inclination. A person who is really ready to help should not have any kind of inclinations. So that person should be free from all kinds of biases and inclinations, prejudices. So when you want to work on a cause, you have to resolve your own issues. Then you have to start working. So here, redefining identity. So before redefining identity, that's why I said you have to deal with guilt and shame and impact of relations, impact on the relations and everything. After dealing with all those things, then this person can redefine identity, and parentified kid can design his goals in such a way that he will be able to help other parentified kids or alcoholic parents or divorced mothers or any kind of people. Next, last point is, if anybody is not able to do this on their own, what they are supposed to do? Most of the people cannot do because it's not as simple as I said. I said understand, identify, guilt, say, shame, then I give identify yourself. Because when, for example, I'll give an example. I keep giving this to all my clients. You cannot smell your own body, but you can smell the smell. You can smell other person. You can smell flowers. You can smell food, but you cannot smell the your own body odor. Why? Because you always live in that. So your nose differentiates the two kinds of smells and it identifies the smell based on the difference. For example, if you have to give a number 5, then what is 5? 5 is the difference between 0 and 5. 5 is not exactly 5. 5 is the difference between 0 and 5. What is 10? 10 is difference between 0 and 10. Only I think Ganesh will understand this clearly, mathematics person. But any number is a difference between 0 and that number. That number is not actually existing because we created numbers. Numbers do not exist in reality, but number is a count that is difference between 0 and that number. So in the same way, smell is the difference between normal smell and some unusual smell. For example, I use a perfume every day, then I cannot smell it. So when new smell comes here, my nose can differentiate difference between this smell and that smell, and it shows me the difference, not the absolute smell. It gives me the difference. So always nose can identify only differences. In the same way, we cannot identify parentified qualities of others. Like we can identify parentified nature of other kid, other child, other adult, but we cannot identify our own symptoms. because they are so merged in our life in such a way that we feel that those are normal things. So this so-called okay, Ganesh is saying it's a conventional representation. Okay, so children, generally what happens, they define their normal state. A child who gets abused every day, she defines abuse as normal thing. A child who gets parentified, she defines parentification as normal process. A person who is beaten every day, they took the beatings, will define beatings as normal thing. So like this, everything, anything which is normally happening every day that appears like normal thing, but it is not normal. That's why a parentified kid cannot talk about all these things, cannot identify. So you are so much indulged in that situation that you will not be able to identify things which I mentioned here. So I am giving a quick recap of everything. Parentification is a process through which parent transforms child into his or her own parent and caretaker, and after that, parent manipulates child in such a way that through praising or through scolding, manipulates in such a way that that parent will make child do all the works of the home. They can be either mechanical, that is called instrumental parenting. They can be emotional, like child will give the emotional support, that is called emotional parenting. So what happens to this child? This child will fail in meeting the demands of the parents because they are asking to do tasks which are which he cannot do because he is very young and he has no capability. But parents will ask him to do such things, ask her to do such things. So she or he always will fail. Because of that, he will develop a feeling called shame and guilt, and this child will actually feel over responsible, and he takes responsibility of everybody, everything, always fails again and again. He will look at himself like a failure, and because of that he doubts his own identity. He feels that he don't have any his own identity of his own. And because and how to overcome this process? One is by understanding that you are parentified. Second thing is understanding that what is the impact of your parentification on your relations. Step 3, identify sources of guilt and shame, and try to understand that you are feeling guilty and shameful for no reason because you are taking responsibilities which you cannot do. That's how your failure is default. It is determined. So you are choosing such kind of tasks. If you try to do something for yourself, you will succeed. If you try to do something for other person, you will fail. And fourth thing, you have to redefine your identity. Previously you were only child who can fulfill the expectations of parents. Now you have to redefine your purpose and what you want to do in your life and what how you want to proceed, that you have to redefine. And step 5, you have to seek help. So you cannot identify your own parenting pattern, and you cannot identify parentification process that have did changes to you. You cannot identify such things because you are within the situation. You cannot. So what you have to do is you have to seek help. You have to take counseling to come out of this pattern. And one more, this is the end of the story. And here I'll give a notification disclaimer that do not apply any content that I discuss in the videos to your own life. Because if you want to talk about your life, you are in suffering, then go to a psychologist or come to me. Go to anybody or come to me, because if you start applying these concepts to your own life, everything appears like it is connected to your own life. So you are attending this lecture because you got this link or something like that, and this is one thing. And secondly, if you are someone who searches for these terms, for example, why do I take responsibility of my parents? Why do I do overdo things? If you are someone who reached to this video through some other source, like you searched for this video and you found this, then you can apply to your life, because you already had a question and you found this video as an answer to your question. Then you can apply this to your life. And if you are someone who is this watching because you have a connection with me and you are my friend or you are my client or you are my colleague or someone, then do not apply, because you had no question previously before watching this video. Then how can you start questioning right now after watching the video? Suddenly how can you identify that, oh, I overdo things, I got parentified. My parents asked me. It's not possible in most of the cases. So you suddenly got to know about a concept and you started thinking that you are also in the same situation. That is not possible. So if you are in this situation really, then you would have searched for this video previously and you would have had at least questions that why do I overdo things? Why my parents always demand more things from me? If you already had such questions and you found this video, then definitely you can apply this video to your life. And accidentally, if you found this video, do not apply to your life. Observe whether you had questions before or not. If you had questions, if you had impact on your life previously before watching this video, if there is impact on your relations, if there is any impact on your identity, and previously also you had such thoughts that you have to take care of your parents, but you are not able to take care and you are not capable enough. So, if you are someone who is in search of answer for those questions, then you can apply this to your life. If you don't have questions, don't apply answers to your life. Not only my video, any video. If you randomly browse, then also don't apply any video to your life, because if you have question, if you are searching for answer, if you find a video, then apply it to your life. Otherwise, what happens is every video appears like something related to you, because all these psychology patterns, they are overlapping to with each other. So all these patterns, they are very linked to each other. If you have some mental health issue, every other mental health issue appears like something related to you. So they are very much overlapping. They are not distinct. Like how ICD mentions, they are not very distinct. So what you have to do is apply only if you are in search of answers. If you don't have a question, do not apply answer to your life without a question. And Ganesh is saying, in my opinion, there is no limit for taking responsibility. Our grandparents did parenting at age of 30 with many kids. That's why they failed actually. So in olden days, lifespan is around 30 years, 40 years. Overall average. Now it is 70 years. That is because in olden days, they used to give birth to children. So children used to die. For example, a woman gives birth to 10 kids and 5 among them die. And only 5 were alive. So this is what used to happen. Parents were not aware of what to do, how to take care of them, and how to take medical care. And during deliveries, many women used to die. So during deliveries itself, and in families also, many conflicts used to be there. Why joint family system is not existing today? It's not because people want money. It's not because people migrated to cities. It's not because of that. Even if people want money, now what would have happened? Joint families would have existed if actually they were successful. People would have earned money together, but that's not the real picture. Joint families actually died because they were not successful, because there were so many conflicts within the family, sas bahu and sajish kind of things. I'll also make video on that. So there are so many role conflicts, so many enmeshments, lack of boundaries, so many problems. Because of that, they died. Anything that dies is not successful. Even if it is species, even if it is a system, anything that is successful will live. Anything that is not successful will die. So in the same way, in the olden days, as I mentioned, people were not successful. People's lifespan was very less, around 30, 40 years. Average. Maybe your grandfather, somebody's grandmother might have lived for 80 years, 90 years, because 1 among 10 persons used to live. So you have seen somebody who lived up to 100 years. But if you go to statistics, you will understand how many people actually died. So it's not like one person should live for 100 years and 9 people should die. That's not right. Even if one person is not living for 100 years, that's not a problem. But everybody have to live. So everybody, average lifespan is 70 now, which is a great progress we humans have made. So in olden days, mothers used to die during deliveries, and husbands used to sexually assault wives and sexually abuse. There was dowry system. There were so many dowry deaths. There were abortions of female fetus. All these kind of things issues. So in olden days, they were very, very, very unsuccessful people. Now today we are very successful people when compared to the olden people. But generally, people who keep on saying everything is going into a disaster, everything is becoming worse day by day. In our olden days, everything used to be nice. That is all bullshit. Because if you see the statistics, lifespan increased, comfort conditions increased, I'm a girl, I'm a woman, I'm talking in front of you all in a live video. If it is 70-year-old before, there was no scope like that. And many women were not educated at that point. Women literacy rate, if you see the statistics, it shows that women literacy rate increased from around 30-40s to 7. Now it's almost equal. Now also it's less, very less compared to men. Men is something around 70 something, women is something around 55 something. So previously it was around 20-30, now it came to 50. So equality came now, and lifespan increased to 70, and women education had grown. So now we are in better conditions, better living conditions. If somebody does something wrong, we have social media to talk about it, and we have Facebook. Everywhere we can post, and we can freely express our opinions. And these are the things which change. So olden days, taking responsibility, that was not successful. They in child age only they took responsibilities, but they failed also. That's why we have to take responsibilities after turning 25, not before 25. 30, okay, better than 25, but not before 18, definitely. So 25 is the best I can say, and 18 is okayish, and before 18, no, because child is not physically or mentally developed completely. His intellect, belief systems, his knowledge, everything is not formed yet, so it's incomplete. And child's body is also not developed yet, so it's incomplete. That's why when we are incomplete the thing. For example, imagine there is a building, it's in half construction. You go and start living there. What will happen? It will collapse. And also you will get asthma because you will get allergy because you are inhaling so much of cement. That is the thing. And nursing is saying today's generation is not even able to take responsibility of themselves itself, can't take care of others and committing suicides, etc. We need to improve psychophysiology of the no, it's not today's generation. It's any generation, in any generation. It's not, suicide is not consequence of irresponsibility or lack of capability. Suicide is not that. Suicide is something which happens when a person has pain, and that person took the decision because pain is more than the desire for life. Pain dominated the desire for life. So that person is so much of pain, struggle, suffered. That's it. It's not lack of responsibility, or it's not inability or something. And failure is not the end, not anything bad. So okay, failure is not bad, but nobody suicides because of failure. They suicide because they have some kind of mindset which says that failure is the end. But why did they get that kind of mindset? That is my question. It's not the failure that made them suicide. It is the mindset that they have. They feel that failure is the end. And what is that mindset made up of? That is made up of so much of trauma. So now sexual abuse is increasing. Every child is being abused, and parents are using kids like anything because kids are becoming more and more intelligent. Intelligence increases by generation by generation. That's what researchers says. This is called something, I don't remember the name. So intelligence, Indian parents are using kids in any manner. So that is a trauma they are giving to children. Because of the trauma, they came to a mindset that failure is the end of the things. Why did they come to that kind of mindset? Because of trauma. But that is not because of lack of responsibility, of no, lack of capability. And failure is not the end, not bad. We learn more in failure. Yes, we learn more, but why did they come to that conclusion? It's not a lack of responsibility, it's the pain, it's the trauma. And a simple fact to everyone around, including kids, need of for in our society. No, it's not a message that we can give. Even if I say, don't take failure as end of things and don't die if you fail. No, that's not going to work because it's not something that we have to comment. We have to heal their pain. Then they will not take failure as something end of the life. They will not take failure. But if we can heal their pain, they will not take. So the healing pain, this is one of the things, and that's why I'm talking about parentification. This is one of the trauma that parents create to children. So if parents don't create any kind of trauma to children up to 18 years, child will never die, child will not do anything wrong, child will not leave parents. It's the parenting that determines most of the things. But I'm not putting the responsibility on parents, because parents' responsibility is up to 18. After that, child has to at least learn, change on his own, her own. So I'm not putting responsibility on parents. I'm saying parents are the cause. But responsibilities on parents up to 18. After 18, responsibilities on the person, because he is grown up, she is grown up, she has to work on herself, himself. So I'm stopping here, and I also published an article with all the research in the Mind Four Steps Up blog. So you can go through that article. I have mentioned about all the facts related to parentification. I have give proper citations like a research article. I have review article I have written, and I have given the references also. You can go through original papers if you want, if you are more interested. So that article link I will be providing in the description also after some time. So you can go through that article if you want to know research based points about parentification. And follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Twitter, so that you will get all the notifications updates. And subscribe to YouTube channel to get notifications. In case if I come live next week, you will get a notification if you subscribe. And also I will also announce on other social media platforms that I'm going to come live, or I'm going to make a video and premiere it. Then I'll make announcement in on social media platforms. So follow me everywhere, and stay connected. And if you have any queries, you can write in the comments. If you have any questions, you can write in the comments. Now I am ending this video. Goodbye.